Hi guys, how are you doing? I missed ya. Welcome to our next little module. Really excited to share this one with you. This one's pretty heavy duty. It's got a lot of information. I know you can handle it. I'm going to be borrowing from a couple of books. I've been using these books for years in the wake of the goddess. And this is Women, Culture, and the Biblical Transformation of Pagan Myth. Woo, there's a lot there. And then also this one, Inanna. She's the queen of heaven and earth. And this is written actually, see these two, Diane Wolkstein, she's like a storyteller, folklorist. And then Samuel Noah Kramer. He is the preeminent know-it-all big kahuna scholar on ancient Sumeria. Ancient Sumeria was part of a civilization that's part of Mesopotamia. You might have heard about Mesopotamia. I don't know if you've studied it before. And it's all about like Hammurabi. Okay, so this is not a history lesson. This is a humanities course, which means it is all about the culture, y'all. It's all about the myth, right? Looking inside at what is crystallized there that gives us this glimpse of how they lived and loved, right? Not just survived, but thrived. So I'm not going to throw a bunch of like dates, memorize this date and this leader who conquered this guy. It ain't about that. It's about the story. That's what makes it juicy. So this guy, Kramer, spent his whole life deciphering these really cool clay tablets that are 4,000 years old. I swear, 4,000 years old. They're called cuneiform tablets. They're these really cool writings written by these scribes of ancient Sumeria. He was able to translate them in the last 50, 100 years, whatever. I think he's still alive. And then Wolkstein took the book and made like really cool epic poetry out of it. So that's how we have this original source. It translated it. And of course, there's going to be some stuff lost in translation. And there's still a bunch of these tablets that haven't even been translated yet. So there's thousands of them. And it's really cool. I'm going to share a screen with you now. We are so lucky to have this writing, this original source. It's kind of like the first known writing. We had the meta language of the goddess, right? All those shapes and symbols and stuff inscribed on goddess figurines. Now we've got this other amazing gift from humanity's past, because we are at the tipping point, or the jumping off point to a whole new consciousness of our humanity. And let me explain why. You're going to be like, hey, Carol, where are all the goddesses? And I'm going to be like, well, you know what? There are none, not by this period of time. If we're looking at the Bronze Age, something had already happened by the Bronze Age. What happened by the Bronze Age, you ask? Well, let me share with you. And I'm going to come into this again and again and again. So in the Neolithic, we had established in our last video, right, that all through here was old Europe. And even into here, remember Anatolia with Catalhayak, with the goddess with the flanked lions, right? Well, all of these had been established for thousands of years. They had been connect the dots back to our Paleolithic past, right? They were matrifocal cultures, meaning it wasn't that women ruled, it was that women had this center of the drama of what became the agricultural cycle, of what became like both looking at the heavens, the patterns of the heavens, as well as the patterns of nature. But around 4000 BC, there were these migrating bands of Indo-European Aryan Kurgan invaders. They rode horseback. They worshiped sky gods. They were nomads. They did not know agriculture, so they took what they could where they could. They infiltrated, and first they were just kind of peripheral side, oh, I'm hearing about some bad stuff going down, to actually conquering and overcoming these matrifocal cultures. Now, you can't get rid of these goddess ideas. You can get rid of as many figurines of a goddess as you can. But if we remember what Jung says about things being deeply embedded in our psyches that are 2 million years old, that means that goddess and God are going to crystallize in other ways. They're going to reveal themselves in other ways. And so even though ancient Sumer has already been dealt with invasions, right? Okay, let's go back real quick. Sorry. This is the area of the Tigris Euphrates. This is modern Iraq. Okay. At this area right here in between these two rivers, we have these cuneiform tablets were found. And even though we're already dealing with this shift in consciousness because of these sky god worshiping nomads coming in and taking over and shifting everything in terms of consciousness, in terms of how the world is perceived by conquering these other peoples, we do still have these semblances, the resonance of goddess culture. So we can continue that line of thought of what did these role relationships look like? What were these roles? How was a pantheon, or the gods and goddesses, how are they represented? So right in through here, it's about 10,000 square miles. And for for a period of time, there was still some harmony in worshiping a goddess, although there were no more figurines. And there is this was considered a complete desert until Sumeria developed it and made it into a garden. Okay. So essentially, I guess I don't want to talk just yet about the earliest peoples of the area. I might come back to this. I feel like your eyes are going to glaze over. You can pause the video and take a look. I will be quizzing you on some of this. Remember, it's open book, open note, an open lecture too. And this is a timeline, but I think I'm going to, you can pause this and look at it after you listen to the lecture. But let's go to the achievements though. We already talked about this a little bit. So in ancient Sumeria, they did have some of the earliest stories about the gods show that there were these laws, or the sacred me. And that was kind of like an early version of the 10 Commandments. The other technologies they developed were irrigation, which meant they were able to bring water to that rural arid areas and grow trees, fruit, food, grass, flowers, in order to make it this beautiful, exquisite, and very desirable place to live. The other thing they developed was something called the cylinder seal. I've already showed you one. This is a clay tablet made from a cylinder seal. This is a goddess, and it shows the above ground and below ground, the great above and the great below. A cylinder seal is like this round stone that has this etching in it, and then you roll it over the clay to create a picture. Thousands of cuneiform tablets have already been found, as I told you, and then 30 of them are about this one particular goddess named Inanna. No, there was no stone or timber, no fertile soil. They turned the desert into a garden. It's the first urban center, meaning it's the development of where they're gathering laws and where there is some kind of structure having to do with the first government, believe it or not. Early chieftain ruled, and based on someone who was had to do with being able to unite people, making people feel like they were protected. And as Sumeria developed, it became more military, where if there was going to be a leader, he had to be big and strong, and he had to know how to fight and defend. So I kind of mentioned before, the crystallizing of myths. So now from the Neolithic, we have gained, as a humanity, we have gained this ability to keep animals and domesticate animals, to be able to grow our food and understand the cycles of, like planting seeds and then helping them mature and then harvesting the fruit. This cycle came with, and we still have them today. I mean, look, if you can look at, when we go celebrate harvest, or we have spring planting, or we have like these spring rituals of like dyeing eggs. Our agricultural system is deeply embedded in our psyche. So a lot of the goddesses and the figurines are gone, but the idea of agriculture as a mythical cycle still will resonate, and it resonates inside the mythology we're about to look at. Ooh, it's been 10 minutes. Should I stop there and leave you hanging? I'll go over this later. This is the end of Sumer as we know it. But the one I really want to share with you is this idea, and these are all based on, you can see the different tablets, the cylinder seals that they used. These are different versions of Inanna. Inanna is the first triple goddess. What does that mean? Well, it's based on her journey. And you're going to see there's some, there's writing, some pages that I've uploaded on your module. And they're copied out of here, which is the translation from these cuneiform tablets. There was, I say 3000 BC, but she was known for thousands of years as Inanna. And as a triple goddess, she was the queen of heaven. Does that sound familiar? We've used that term before, more recently, haven't we? But the queen of heaven is also the morning star and the evening star. Today we call that Venus in the sky, the planet Venus in the sky. Sometimes you see her in the morning, sometimes at night. So this is a goddess that went to live in the heavens. And then she came to earth and she became a lover. And it wasn't just to become a lover in order to have babies. It was a lover to be able to refertilize the earth. And then she put her ear to the great below and she went down into the underground. I'm not going to tell you what happened yet, but the descent of Inanna is a huge journey into the underworld, into the rejuvenation of the soul, where she meets her dark sister and then is reborn again back, and then she starts her journey all over again. So it's kind of like the original shamanic journey. And it shows her as queen of heaven, queen of earth, and then the queen of the underworld descending. Is she a splintering of the great goddess who was above and below? I don't know, that's for you to decide. But perhaps the crystallization of this myth is lingering memory, a distant memory of the great goddess of the Neolithic and Paleolithic. So let's see, I think I'm going to stop there, and I can't wait to see you back here in a few minutes for part 2. Okay, thanks.